Hi everyone, it is July 20th, 2021, and welcome to Jack's Place. We're at 1623 Rhode Island Street here in Sturgeon Bay, beautiful Door County. It is a wonderful day out there. So if you don't need to be in the kitchen cooking, you should be out catching some rays. So today we're going to be putting together a quick savory bread pudding. Now, I know people like savory bread pudding. Like, everybody's used to having that nice, rich bread pudding with a very nice, creamy rum sauce or some raspberries or whatever. We can do that on another occasion, but today, for today's dinner, I am making savory bread pudding that's going to go as a side for some country ribs and a green bean salad. So, with that said, let's talk about bread pudding, savory bread pudding. So today's bread pudding is actually going to be a blue cheese and ham savory bread pudding, all right? So what that means is there's no sugar in this one. Sorry for all the sugar fans and the sweet fans, it ain't happening today. It's a side dish. So we're gonna start with, I'm gonna give you a recipe. Even though I'm making it in bigger quantities, you're going to see that I'm going to be doing way bigger quantities. I am going to give you a recipe for a smaller quantity. A regular recipe will serve you 12. But in this case, yeah, let's just do it for 12. A 12 serving bread pudding. What you're going to need is, you will need butter. Doesn't matter if it's salted or unsalted. I usually use the salted if I'm not using the salt that the recipe calls for. But this recipe does call for a teaspoon of salt. So I will use unsalted butter. What you're going to do is you're going to take a quarter cup of this butter. And you are going to melt it. And you're going to saute a medium chopped onion in this. Like right now what I have left is half of one because I got some already started. So when I chop an onion, I peel it, I cut it in half. I leave this the root part on it. Now, the reason why I leave the root part on it is because it helps with the onion staying together when I'm dicing it. So it's not like flapping like these end cuts when you get closer to the end. Sometimes they just start spreading out or whatever. Yeah, so here we go. We got it. So we're gonna dice this. It doesn't have to be large or fine dice, just a regular dice. So with my root, I just kind of cut, and I put my finger here, and I put my thumb over here, just to keep it from spreading all over the place. Okay. Let me see. I hope you guys can see that. Let's get a little closer there. There you go. Now you can see that. This is what happens when you play with bleach, when you bleach your dishes. I tend to put bleach in my dish soap, in my dish bucket. So anyway, so now we have the root still back here, and we're just gonna, and there you got a dice. It's all nice and diced up. Keep your fingers curled. Keep your fingers curled, the claw, and behind. And it just kind of like, I don't know if you guys saw that this end right here, when I chopped, tried to fly open. So it didn't go anywhere because I have it attached still at the root. So just keep yourself, there you go. Then at the end, you can just toss this out, no problem. Easy as pie. So here you go. I'm going to put this into the pot over here. Now you can, like I said, it's a quarter cup, but if you actually want to put in more than a quarter cup of butter, it's fine. It's not going to, if you want to do like half a cup, half a stick, for this one recipe that serves 12, it's fine because, you know, butter is the essence of life. I'm adding more. I just added a little more than what I had previously. So I had three medium onions and I only had 1 stick of butter, but that's okay. So now we're going to take some cloves of garlic, and you need 3 cloves of garlic. Now, sometimes people like try taking a paring knife and they do this and they do that. No, I'll show you a quick way to peel your garlic because we're going to mince it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So here we go. With the wide edge of your knife, you're just going to squish them. Put them on the side carefully. Squish it. Just a little squish. Doesn't have to be that much. And then the skin will come right off and you don't have to worry about maneuvering a small knife. Okay? So you're just gonna, comes right off. And it won't be sticking to your fingers. So I'm just gonna nip the little root part off. I'm just gonna nip that. The fresher the garlic, the easier, the better it'll squish. This one's been in the fridge for for like a week, so. But anyway, so, and we're just gonna mince that a little bit. I just go, you know, several ways around. You just run your knife through it. Now you want to do your onion a little ahead of time from the garlic. You know, like right now I've had the onion going for a while. The reason why you want to do this is because garlic tends to burn a little faster than onion will. So we're softening our onion. You can get it like very caramelized. That'll take about 20 minutes to do that on a medium-low temperature. So here's my garlic. It's minced. It doesn't have to be extremely, you know, it just chopped really small. So I'm adding it into here. Okay. So we got a 1/4 cup of butter, salted or unsalted, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. 1 medium onion diced to big chop or into a chop, you know, diced, and 3 garlic cloves minced. And we're letting them all cook down and get nice and soft and a little golden. If you want it like that, that's fine. The more you cook your onion down and you let it caramelize, it'll bring out the sweetness of the onion. So that's what we're doing over here. I'm gonna check it again. Just covering it to let it, you know, cook down and do its thing. While that's happening over there, we're gonna work on the bread. So you're gonna need for this recipe 2 loaves of French bread, a French baguette, or however you pronounce it. Okay. Those are these ones. Let me see. This is a day-old bread. It's it's stale bread. I mean, this is probably like a day old. It still has softness to it. Like, you can totally make a sandwich with this right now. But this is what you'd be using. Day old French bread. Me, because I'm different, I'm special and I like doing things differently. I will use, when I make savory bread pudding, I like using this everything bread. It has garlic and onion on it. It has sesame seeds and it has poppy seeds. It has a lot of good stuff in it. It really does. So you're gonna cut this bread, and what it's gonna do is gonna give your bread extra flavor. So, besides the garlic and the onion you got going over there, it's gonna give you a lot of nice extra flavor. So what I'm going to do is, I got 1 loaf of this. I got 2 loaves of French bread. I also have I have a sesame seed bread that I'm going to use too. When it's savory bread pudding, I like putting different types of bread in it. And you know what? You don't necessarily have to just go and buy a special bread for it. And I'll show you why. Dinner rolls I had in the freezer from a dinner a few weeks ago. They were in the freezer. Pull them out, thaw them. They're gonna get chopped and they're gonna be tossed in there. And here's another type of yeast dinner roll. And these ones, you see the little specks? It doesn't have fleas. No, it doesn't have fleas. What those little specks are is some sesame seeds, black toasted sesame seeds. So it has a mixture of different sesame seeds in it. So, I'll use that. I'll cut it up and I'll throw it in my bread pudding for tonight's dinner. So with that said, what you want to do is you want to take a nice sharp knife. Your knife, make sure it's nice and sharp. I just rinsed out the knife I was using. This is my favorite knife. I think everybody that cooks always has like a favorite knife, a favorite utensil. This is my favorite knife here in Jack's place. So what you're going to do is going to cut these in cubes. So just... It's supposed to be like 1-inch cubes. Do whichever way you want. So this is what they tell you to do in the recipe. Cut them in 1-inch cubes. Cut them whichever way you want. It's yours. This isn't, we're not competing in some contest, cooking contest or whatever. We just need our bread cut up. When my mom made bread pudding, she would just, this was her utensil. She just cut it up just like that. There you go. And that's how you gotta do. Just cut. And I just realized something. I told you guys about how much garlic you would need for the small recipe. And I just realized that I'm tripling my recipe and I only put 3 garlics in. So I have to go back and get more garlic done for this recipe. So I'm going to do that actually right now because I want it to cook evenly with the rest of the garlic. So we're going to take this bread action. We're going to take this bread action and put it aside until I finish my garlics. I only need like 6 more, so it shouldn't take that long if you guys want to sit there and watch me do this. So, like I said, I will show you once again. If your garlic is like small, if you have like a little clove, and you really like the garlic taste, you can get garlic, use the bigger cloves. Me personally, I always try to get the big cloves into my food. Okay. And it smells delicious in here right now. It's really smelling nice. It really is. You want to keep it at a steady, medium-low heat because you don't want to burn it. There's a difference between caramelized and burnt. You don't want your onions to burn, or your garlic at that. Garlic gets very bitter when you burn it. Been there, done that. So we're just yeah. Like I said, getting fresh garlic is always best. I had garlic in my garden, and it didn't make it. I might be a good cook, but I'm not a very good gardener. I just, so far. I can't say that completely. Got lots of tomatoes, so that's going to be great. So we're just doing here this garlic that I'm going to need for over there to throw into the pot before it starts getting. The good thing, like when you crush it like that, you hit it and you crush it. The good thing about it is that, you crush it. So when you take the skin off, you're already halfway there in the cutting process because it's crushed. So when you have to mince it, you're not mincing from a long, weird, point. It's already flat. So it's not going to be rolling anywhere when you're trying to cut the garlic. So, it works. That's what it's got to do. Now, if I were at home and I was going to do 9 to 12 cloves of garlic, I would have pulled out my mini food processor. Because it's just about yay big. So we put it in there and it just goes, and I would have chopped it up really quick and easy. But it's always good to keep up on your skills, on your knife skills. It's always good to do stuff no matter how many gadgets you have. It's always good to be able to do things and know how to do things the old way. Because what happens if you're in the process of, whipping some cream for dessert and you have an electric shortage or your gadget dies? You need to be able to do that whipping on its own. Our grandmothers used to do that, before all these inventions were made. And they would make awesome whipped toppings and stuff all by hand. That's like pure muscle power. Now, I probably am not going to let that caramelize. I'm on a crunch time. I want to have this soak for at least 2 hours. And if I want it to be cooked and out of the oven by 4 o'clock when I start boxing the dinners, that means I'm going to have to let this soak at least 2 hours. You calculate it. So, okay, so like I said, so far we have a 1/4 cup of butter. Melted it. It's sauteing one medium onion diced. It's caramelizing that with 3 cloves of garlic. All right. While that's happening, you're cutting your French bread, your 2 loaves of French bread. You are cutting those into cubes. See, like right now I got all this nice yummy stuff. I just popping it in there. This is going to give it like an extra, it's just an extra boost of flavor. It has like onions and garlic, I said before, and a bunch of things. So, but anyway, we're doing that. Once you have that done, you are going to need, according to this recipe, okay, so this recipe says to put your bread on and then add your milk mixture and your thing mixture in a layer and then do the bread again. I don't do that. I like the bread to soak everything easily, so everything's going in a big bowl. To that big bowl, in a separate bowl, I'm going to take my eggs. You're going to need 5 large eggs and 3 cups of heavy whipping cream. If you don't want to use that much cream, let's face it, whipping cream is very expensive. You can always use half and half. I like using half and half. You can use regular milk. So, but the heavy whipping cream is going to give it like an extra richness to it, and that's perfectly fine if you want to do it that way. If you want to use lactate-free milk because you know you have issues with lactose, that's fine. You can use soy milk. You can use an almond milk if you wanted to, or even a coconut milk, as long as they're not sweetened, because you don't want sweet milk, like necessarily extra sweet flavor to it. So I'm going to use a mixture of half and half milk and cream. And the reason because of that is because I don't have all the cream. So I'm going to finish the cups that I need of cream with the half and half. And because I'm tripling this recipe, I'll probably add some milk as well. So you're going to take your eggs, your cream, you know, your liquid, and a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. At this point, if you want to add, like, let's say dry mustard, or if you want to add a little cayenne pepper or a little pepper flakes, you know, this is the time to do it when you're whipping all that together. So you're going to take your bread and you're going to take your egg mixture. You're going to put it in there and you're going to let this soak for about 3 hours. And once it's soaked for 3 hours, then you're going to add your garlic. Or you can add the garlic and onion mixture actually. Let's rewind that. Take your bread, add your egg mixture, your egg milk mixture. Season it with whatever you want. This is the time to add, like I said, mustard, or I don't know, if you want to put basil in it or something like that. Now's the time to do that. So because it's going to soak. So you want the flavors to soak into your bread. You want your bread to suck in all that nice flavor with the onion and whatnot. Afterwards, when it's soaked for about 2 hours and you notice that everything's nice and soaked, you're going to put it in a baking dish, a 9 by 13, I believe. 9 by 13 baking dish. And you don't have to worry about buttering it. Because there's butter in there. You can grease the bottom if you want with some more butter. You can never go wrong with butter, but you can do that, or you can use some cooking spray. You can spray the bottom. So you're going to have that mixture. Then at that point is when you're going to add your blue cheese crumbles and the ham. Because remember, I'm making today a blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese crumbles and the ham. Because remember, I'm making today a blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your blue cheese and ham bread pudding. So you're going to add your bl With that said, I will meet you here in a few minutes, Magic TV time. But I will get you going when we're going to bake this and what we're going to do next. So keep chopping, and we'll be back really soon.